and let us all do we can to build a better future.
One, but a Democratic one. It won't be sanctioned by the DNC, probably, but TYT is going to do a presidential debate with all three of the presidential candidates who are running, except for Biden. Marianne Williamson, Cenk, and Representative Dean Phillips. Stunner lineup. I know. Hey, show of hands. How many of you actually give a damn that there's going to be a debate? And it's going to respond to the fourth GOP debate. So it's going to be a debate, but a reaction debate to the GOP debate that won't have Donald Trump in it. Now, I have to give my hats off to Donald Trump for not attending these debates. They haven't impacted his numbers at all. And let's be clear here. It's hard for anyone to make an argument that Donald Trump will not become the Republican nominee in 2024. He has it in the bag, and Republican voters have made it clear to everyone that's been following that election that they want him as their nominee. But hey, it's all good. Let's go ahead and pull this up here as well. Let's go ahead and talk about it. The establishment wants them silenced, so we're giving them a microphone. TYT is giving the mic to all three Democratic presidential candidates. On her book tour, Marianne Williamson, the guy who cannot qualify to be on any of the ballots, Cenk, and Representative Dean Phillips, to respond to the fourth GOP debate. Tune in on Wednesday, December 6th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Wow, on YouTube. Okay. All right. Well, looks like a fantastic lineup of people who will not be acknowledged by the Democratic Party. We have seen a lot of our colleagues in independent media who have done phenomenal work in regards to breaking down how the DNC has rigged primaries before. Case in point, 2016 and 2020, where Bernie Sanders allowed the DNC to more or less screw him over. He didn't do anything to push back. I wish all of us maybe saw him for who he was early on before his name took absolute front and center for all progressive organizations. But let this serve as a reminder to all of you. And I've used this analogy before about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is a dumb bear, all right? And there's no way that if you're going to lie there and the bear eats you, you're going to change it from the inside. That's not going to happen ever in the history of anything. The bear's just going to crap you out. And the Democrats have made it very, very, very clear that they are not on board with changing their ways. They're all on board for money in politics. They're all on board in keeping the system the way it is. Case in point, I want to pull up this video here. All right. Now, I don't know what the overall goal is that TYT or these three Democratic candidates are trying to pull here, because the Democrats are not gaining support. Voters are leaving the Democratic Party. So you could put anyone in this primary race. It's not going to inspire anyone. And the Biden-Harris administration have said numerous times, oh, my light just went out, made it numerous times that the DNC is not going to hold any kind of debates whatsoever. So by doing that, Cenk and everyone are kind of more or less wasting everyone's time. Personally, I view this election cycle as the most interesting because we have a wide range of third-party candidates who are more front and center and far more interesting than any of the Democratic primary candidates. And I personally hope to see a rise in at least more support for the independent third-party candidates. But just to remind you folks, TYT for a long time tried to reform the Democratic Party. And this video that just came out, shout out to Case Study QB, in which Cenk warned AOC about Nancy Pelosi. Well, Cenk, look, if you're warning AOC about Nancy Pelosi, then why are you getting involved in the Democratic Party? You cannot retake it. You cannot reform it. It is impossible to reform something that doesn't want to be reformed. The Democratic Party is an addict. They know what they're doing. They don't want help. That's it. They're on a path to self-destruction, which is why black voters are leaving the Democratic Party, which is why Latino voters are leaving the Democratic Party, why young people, old people, the LGBTQ community, Muslim, Arab voters, everyone All generations are leaving the Democratic Party because the Democrats have not followed through. And under the Biden-Harris administration, things have not fundamentally changed. They have got progressively worse. Here, let's laugh at this together.
I talked to AOC many times before the primary, after the primary, and only a couple times after she became a congressperson, because then she became very important. But afterwards, after she won, we talked many times. And I told her, Nancy Pelosi is not your friend. And she's like, oh, no, I know. And I said, look, she's going to do a bunch of tricks, et cetera. And she's like, I know. And in fact, she told me about something that Nancy Pelosi did in the beginning. That was a private conversation, so I'm not going to say what. And AOC did a great job of resisting that. Terrific. When did you become surprised that Nancy Pelosi is not your friend? If Nancy Pelosi is your friend, you're going in the wrong direction. Like, as a progressive who's looking to overthrow the establishment, you should expect that the establishment is going to fight you.
You know, when Justice Democrats got started, I actually had high hopes for them. I really thought that they were going to be effective and gain ground. I really thought that maybe there was a chance for possibly something new, something strong. But as time progressed after 2018, and seeing how AOC was falling in line, just like all the other progressives were, even like how Bernie Sanders was, there was still that hope that maybe 2020 would be the great pushback. And it was nothing more than a wet fart. AOC was quickly put into the machine. She bent the knee to Mama Bear and everyone who was part of the Democratic establishment, and all those progressive heavyweights that have built a name for themselves after 2016, after 2020, are all in line for Joe Biden. You think going on this platform and saying, oh, you warned AOC. Well, maybe Justice Democrats really should have had more stricter rules on these candidates. Maybe Justice Democrats should have had a little bit more writing in regards to how much influence, the candidates would have, especially when they were once in office. Like, maybe Justice Democrats could have a little bit of a pull in Washington, D.C. I mean, the ink is already dry, but seems like you guys dropped the ball.
And you should have plans for how you're going to get around them, how you're going to actually pass the bills without getting enough floor time, because you should expect that they're going to cut down your floor time. They're going to try to keep you off of committees, et cetera. Because if you're on those committees and they're not doing anything against you, that means you aren't creating any good trouble at all, that you're being a good boy and girl. So I'm just bewildered by why she thinks Nancy Pelosi was supposed to be nice to her. And now she says, oh, but don't worry, Hakeem Jeffries is nice to me. No, I'm more worried now. I'm not less worried. Hakeem Jeffries is totally right wing. Why is he being nice to you?
Oh, Cenk, you dropped the ball. Now, I am curious to see how this debate will play out tomorrow. It will be a response to the forced GOP debate. I mean, at least the GOP is actually doing debates. Trump's not attending them, and let's be very transparent here. Those GOP debates have been lackluster and mediocre at best. Maybe a funny line here or there, but no one cares. No one really cares. But to the Democratic candidates that are running in the primary, you're wasting everyone's time. Everyone sees it. Everyone knows that the DNC establishment, corporate media, everyone's forming the shield wall around Joe Biden. He's going to be their nominee, despite what some other establishment Democrats people have said, that, look, they view Biden as being weak. They view him as someone that's a real risk, but the DNC's all in for Biden, and the Biden administration are all in for him running in 2024. Plus, to the candidates, ballot access is going to be key. Arkansas rules online news personality Cenk Uygur won't qualify for Democratic presidential primary. Ugh. Arkansas election officials on Monday said online news personality Cenk Uygur, who was born in Turkey, can't appear on the state's Democratic presidential primary ballot next year. The determination comes weeks after Uygur proclaimed that he had become the first naturalized citizen on a presidential ballot after filing paperwork with the state and the Arkansas Democratic Party. Uygur's parents immigrated to the United States from Turkey when he was 8. My office has received your candidate filing paperwork, the Secretary of State, John Trustin, said in a letter to Uygur. However, based on your own proclamation, you are not qualified to hold the elected office for which you filed. Therefore, I cannot, in good faith, certify your name on the ballot. I mean, look, I'm all for someone who believes in their values and doesn't back down. It's good, but look, Cenk, calm down. You got to stop this. You're embarrassing everybody. I'm starting to feel a little sorry for you. I don't know what kind of crazy pills you're taking, but you're delusional. The Constitution sets simple requirements for president. Candidate must be 35 years old and a natural-born citizen. I'm going to highlight that right there. A natural-born citizen. That's what you got to do. I mean, shout out to The Hill and Breaking Points that they had you on, their show. But what else are you doing, Cenk? Come on. Several other states, including early primary states of New Hampshire and Nevada, also have rejected his application to appear on their ballots. Uyghur said officials were treating naturalized citizens as second class. He has argued that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution makes him eligible to run for president. Look, if Schwarzenegger ain't going to do it and hasn't crossed the Rubicon for this kind of challenge, what are you doing, then, Cenk? This is the last form of acceptable bigotry in American society, and I'm going to fight it with every fiber of my being, Uyghur said in a statement. I'm not going to accept that I don't belong in my own country. No one's saying that, Cenk. What people are saying is that you do not meet the qualifications for running for president of, get this, these United States. So while this wonderful debate looks exciting, you three people up there, Phillips, Uyghur, Williamson, you're not going to bring people in. You're not going to shake the foundations of the political world. People are not interested in the Democratic Party. People are leaving the Democratic Party. In fact, people are kind of burnt out by electoral politics, including yours truly. At this point, this might be the last election I'm going to vote in because I'm just not inspired by anyone. I really have to think hard who I'm going to vote for. And no, it won't be Democrat or Republican. I'll be voting independent third party. And yes, I support citizen ballot initiatives. But looking at this debate, what is the final conclusion? You're going to be responding to the GOP debate. Okay, so what is it? Grr, Republicans bad, Trump bad. I've heard this before over and over again, and infinitum. I've seen it all on social media, be it Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube, anything like that. Break away from the two-party system. And the fact that these three haven't figured it out or aren't aware of just how bad the game is rigged against them, it's like you're seeing a spider drowning in the toilet. You're rooting for them. You're kind of hoping that they get out, but it's a spider and you got to flush it anyways because it's gross. Just like running in the Democratic Party. You're not going to get anywhere because if you don't follow the rules with the establishment, well, then they're going to treat you like you're nothing. Just like the Biden-Harris administration are treating all the other candidates. It's simple as that. The DNC will rig the system to work in its favor. And even if, out in the blue, one of these candidates were to gain momentum and get a lot of support, and I don't know, in Chicago, maybe cause a ruckus, no matter what happens, the DNC controls all the buttons, all the levers, all the switches. They will still pick who they want because it's what the DNC wants. Election integrity in the United States, non-existent. Hey, but show of hands. Let's have democracy in the chat for a final word. Type 1 for, Kit, I'm going to tune in and watch this Democratic presidential debate because it's important. We got to hear from these three because freedom, justice, and liberty, and shame on you for dismissing this primary debate. Type 2, man, I ain't tuning in for this. What I want to hear? A bunch of three stooge losers? No, I'm not tuning in for that.